Hey, how you guys? Are you doing alright? I hope you are, because if you are, I'm doing alright. And at the end of the day, if you're new to this channel, you should subscribe. And if you subscribe, and maybe you feel that you need to drop us a like, then drop us a like. Maybe a dislike if you want to comment down below and tell us that you weren't happy with something, and then we'll rectify it. And basically, that's what we are here. We are hardware and other things on this channel. So, yeah. And if you're already subscribed, hey! Anyway, other than that, we're going to be talking about Intel 9900K, TDP, and other motherboard manufacturers. And also, we're going to talk about overclocking and warranties and stuff like that, and OEM. And yeah, let's just roll with it. So, first off, if I want to buy this CPU, so this is a 9900K CPU, and this is $659.99, yes? Okay, we'll come back to that. So if we go to the OEM version, which is named as a tray version CPU, which has only got 1 year. So we go here, 9900K, this is a tray version or OEM version, and it's got a 95 TDP rating. And basically, if I scroll through, it says all the good stuff, all the specs and everything like that, how many PC lanes and the clock speed. So out of the box, I plug the CPU into the socket and get the motherboard running and everything like that, and it should be running at 3.6 gigahertz, and then one core turbos up to 5 gigahertz for a single core. Okay, cool. All right, that's cool. 1 year warranty. Okay, I'll look at the retail version. But before I look at the retail version, 3.6 gigahertz. So plop it straight into the socket. It will run at 3.6 gigahertz. Or you can buy a pre-bin version at £719.99 for 1 year warranty, and it's slightly binned, so it means it's overclocked from the base clock of 3.6 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz. And then they've also got a 4.9 gigahertz, so a dropping down by 1,000 megahertz. Was that 100 megahertz? I can't remember which one it is. I think it's 100 megahertz of a drop speed, and you get £689. So basically that's like £30 difference. Okay, but if you want it pre-binned at 5.1 gigahertz, so it's stable at 5.1 gigahertz with a bit of heat and everything, and obviously you're gonna have to buy decent water cooling or a decent massive CPU air cooler for it. £1,000, so £999.98. Okay, fair dues. But all of this, as you can see clearly, 1 year warranty. There we go, 1 year warranty. Okay, I don't need that. Let's go for the retail version. At 3.6 gigahertz, $659.99 on overclockers here. So let's click into that. And yes, my 95 watt TDP, excellent, cool. My warranty is 3 years. Wow, wicked, excellent. You know what that means? That means I can overclock, because it's got a K at the end of it. 9900K, not 9900, 9900K, like 8700K, 6700K. Those are overclocking chips. Even like with the tray versions or OEM versions, K, I ain't gonna say it again, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. Okay. Anyway, 1151 socket CPU, 3.6 gigahertz base clock. So okay. Now, we've got motherboards. Let's go into the motherboards real quick. So, where are the motherboards? Right, let's click into motherboards real quick. So, we need to look at the Z390 chipset, because those are the ones that have meant to have more VRMs and phases and stuff like that. More VRMs, more VRM, dissipation of heat, and more phases or doublers for the phases to have more voltage going through that motherboard to get more stable overclocks. So, right, okay, these are all the motherboards right here. And if I just click into, say, the motherboard that I've got, where is that? There he is. Right, so let's click into this motherboard real quick. So we're in there already. Supports for the 9th or 8th Intel Core i7 processors, and Intel Core i5 processors, and the Core i3 processor, Pentium processor, Intel Celeron processors, basically for LG51 socket. Now, you scroll all the way down, Z390 Express and all the memory and everything like that. Ah, that's wicked, excellent. 3-year warranty, manufacturer warranty. I said that backwards, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. And basically, cool. Okay, now if I go into, say, Asus, like this, we'll go into that one, and we scroll down, fits all the all the CPUs for that socket. Coffee Lake S refresh processors. So it's saying it's a Coffee Lake S refresh. Okay, so it says that. Got everything here. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't say anything about TDP. No motherboard manufacturer seems to have TDP rating on their motherboards, which is another issue. Because say that they told you that this motherboard's got a TDP watt rating of 180, you will know that that CPU you get is going to be very stable, and you could buy a CPU air cooler with a TDP watt rating. Like loads of CPU air coolers and AIOs have TDP watt ratings, so you know what that's going to be able to cool that CPU or not. Anyway, and as you can see, there's nothing on there about TDP watt rating and overclocking or anything, like any issues. But the only thing is when you get this CPU, it'll just literally overclock itself. So with that being said, if it's going to overclock itself, that means it's running out the specification that Intel had basically sold the CPUs at, and that means that you should have one of these, which means it's a purchase plan, which is an extra purchase plan on the purchase that you already purchased in, with the purchasing of the enthusiastic range. Now, if I put it like this, now it's called a performance plan, tuning plan. Sorry, it's called. So for overclocking, right here, Intel performance tuning protection plan. Sorry. So if I click into buy now, you can see all the lovely CPUs that are on there, except for the 9900K. So regardless, I don't know whether this is going to be going on there or not going on there. But if you had an 8700K, when you bought it, it would have been £470 of release. And then you would have to buy that if you want to overclock it. But technically, when you put it into the motherboard, it didn't overclock itself already. But the 9900K overclocks itself straight away in the motherboard, and the TDP rating goes through the roof, which means it gives you more heat to dissipate from the motherboard. But the motherboard manufacturers allowed that because Intel were allowing it to have the Intel CPU go into it, which is 9900K, and overclock itself, which means that it's already out of its specification range. So if anything happens while it's been overclocked from the manufacturer without all of these small prints and stuff, that means technically if the CPU damages over the overclock with more volts, that means that technically you shouldn't really get another CPU, because technically you didn't buy a plan. And the plan is there for the overclocking. So basically, Intel will not pay for you to overclock your CPU. You have to pay for it yourself with a little bit of peace of mind. But the only thing is, once you bought this, if you overclock it and your CPU blows up or anything like that, that's okay. Intel will obviously exchange it for replacement just once with this one plan. But that means if you blow up again, then you won't be able to get another, what you call it? You won't be able to get another price plan. You can only get a price plan with each CPU that you blow up. So if you blow up a CPU, you have to buy a brand new CPU and then put another plan on it. So it works out really expensive. But Intel having no regards to it in that way. So your 3-year warranty or even your 1-year warranty doesn't cover it. And you talk about 1-year warranty, your 1-year warranty can't get this plan. So if you go with the OEM or the trade versions they call it, this is nada. It's irrelevant. You can't use this with that. You can only use it with the nice box. You remember I said I want the Intel lovely crystal hexagon-y box thingy. It comes with obviously a premium. You got that box. It's a retail version. Gives you 3 years warranty. But a 3 years warranty does not cover you for overclocking. All it covers you is for the CPU. Now, what it doesn't cover you for this plan is that you can sand it down, delid it, sand down the die, and what else? Basically misuse the CPU. That's fair enough, yeah? But technically, having a K SKU for overclocking is so you can basically overclock it, put more voltage through it, which means that it's kind of not safe because it's kind of on the edge. You're putting more voltage through it. But then it's weird because Intel would have obviously known that this could overclock. And if it can overclock and then sell it as an overclocking CPU, why is it not on most websites to say that you can buy this plan when you get to overclock the CPU? Because 50% of you will overclock, 50% of you won't. 50% of you will get that CPU and be like, I've got the best CPU ever, but you won't overclock it. But your motherboard will overclock it a little bit. Or some people will know a little bit about the BIOS, go in there, tweak a little few things, and then it will be overclocked. So they're definitely running out of its specification, which is kind of weird. Obviously, 9900K is not on there. Now, I don't know why it's not on there, but you imagine having the 9900K on there, you're looking more at £69 because it beats the 8700K, but it only just about beats the 8700K, or it's roughly the same. But because these manufacturers for the motherboards like Gigabyte, Asus and MSI and ASRock and all that sort of stuff, Asus does have a switch. I think you can switch it from having 95 TDP watt rating, and then another one where it can just go unlimited. So when it goes unlimited, you'll get those really hot CPU running at all its cores, and that means that when it's running like that, it's kind of like running over the 95 watt TDP rating. So that means that it's misleading because you're buying a CPU that you want to have a 95 TDP watt rating, and you wonder why the CPU is running so hot. It's because the manufacturer of the motherboards is kind of tuned to go overclocked a little bit, and that's why it's been AMD 2700X just. But technically it wouldn't really be beating it, and it wouldn't be worth the money because technically it's about £300. I think I should check it out. CPU, right, so it's £319, so basically it's like half the price of a 9900K, but yet you got, now can't go too far on it because technically the Intel is not on there at the moment, so they might be covering their backs. But just in case it does go on there, the warranty needs to make sure, because the motherboard overclocks your CPU, and technically some percentage of people might have a problem, or the people that don't know that you need to have a warranty if you blow up your CPU by overclocking it, that there is a plan for tuning. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. The CPU is very expensive. It's £300 more than that, and it's not really that much more powerful than that. Yes, if you want the highest benchmark, yes, that's obvious. But yes, if you want it to be the best CPU out there that you can get for gaming and a little crossover to the workstation area, because that's where it's positioned, then yes. But then again, that is the same amount of cores and everything like that. But technically 900K is a better overclocker, but even if it is a better overclocker, it's not very great with the temps. So technically, in my eyes, it's a 50% overclocker, because technically you need to have a good cooling system for it. But it seems like in 2017 upwards, you started to need better cooling for your CPUs, like AIO cooling, custom auto cooling, and air cooling, like bigger CPUs to cool it. But anyway, I'm just a little bit frustrated because I can go into the website and I know it's okay for overclocking, but you didn't know that there's anything for tuning. It's like very hush-hush. Only certain people know about it. But if you blow up your CPU, then you're at fault for it, because yes, it's an overclocking SKU, and yes, you may have the trade version, the OEM 1 year warranty, but technically it doesn't really matter. You still need to buy a tuning thing, and I don't know whether it's every year that you have to do it, or it's just like only for a year. So basically it's within your 3 years. And no, actually it must be every year. I'm not too sure though, but I will have a look, because I'm thinking about memory, because memory has that as well. That's a die on the memory, and there's a die on the graphics card. So technically, if you overclock the graphics card, I don't know if there's a K on the graphics card, because obviously there's not, but there is versions that are slightly overclocked from the manufacturer, but I don't know. I need to have a look into that, and I need to look into the AMD version, whether they got that for the Ryzen CPUs. But you can see definitely that's half the price and the same sort of speed, and technically you're not going to really, in real world results, you wouldn't really notice it with a 9900K against the 2700X. But technically it's just for, if you want that thought of like having the most powerful CPU out there for gaming and stuff, then yeah, the 9900K. But technically no, if it's at 95 TDP, because I swear the 2700X beats 9900K at 95 TDP. But when it's running unlimited, it literally would definitely beat the 2700X, and it's a better overclocker. So anyway, what are your thoughts about it? Do you think this is right? Do you think that you should be able to go to like a website like Overclockers, find a CPU that you like, or like, here we go. Yeah, find a CPU that you like. So say the 9900K, and it should say, yeah, this is overclocking. And if you really want to, you can pay the extra bit from Intel to make sure that you covered your CPU. Because technically, as I said, you can't rub the CPU on the metal surface. You can't delid it, and you can't shade the die down, which is obvious because you're taking it apart. But it's just a bit weird that you can overclock it and put more voltage. So that means more electricity going through it, which is worse than anything else. But technically, if you mash the die up, then it's your problem. So technically, that's okay. And technically, in Intel's right, it's okay to kind of charge you a premium because it's a bit of peace of mind. But with the CPU being at this price, if it's like £69, that is way too much. But what do you guys think? Do you really think it should be on there? So when you're buying a CPU with a K SKU, they say, right, you can purchase this little overclocking tuning thing, and that will cover you for your overclocking. Because I'll tell you what, it's not very clear. It's got 3-year warranty, but you can purchase this plan, and it's only like, look, for a 7350K, which is a useless CPU anyway, that's £20 just to be able to overclock that. That was alright overclocker, but I don't know. I only got 8350K, and that's $10 more. I don't know what it converts to in UK. It might just be exactly the same, £20, £30, rather than actually convert it in the right way. But the more that you pay for a CPU, the more money it's going to cost to actually overclock it. And technically, is it even worth paying that premium to overclock it like that when you don't even know if your CPU can overclock to other people? So say people can overclock their CPU, like I can overclock my CPU to 5.4 gigahertz. Some people can only overclock theirs to 5 gigahertz and 5.1 at like 50%. So I don't know if that wouldn't be very useful. I think that's not very good. But then again, it's still covering you, but it should like have a barrier of like how much you should overclock to. I don't know. It's a bit confusing, a bit complex. But 9900K is not in there, so I don't know whether they're going to put it on there. But look, 8700K is in there, and that's $50 just to overclock your damn CPU, and that is saying something. And that's only for 1 year. And I don't know whether you can come back and then obviously, what's it called? Don't know whether you can come back and then do another year and do another year, which should mean in turn it's 150 quid if you think about it, on top of the money that you're already paying. But yeah, all the TDP, what rating right down here, that all makes sense. But I'm going to obviously be doing a memory version. If you want to see that, put the comment down below. Links in the description down below if you want to buy this CPU or the AMD 2700X, or any other component that will just be down in the actual thing. Because at the end of the day, the Intel 9900K is a good overclocker. And AMD Ryzen, the first one, what I had wasn't a very good overclocker, and it was really annoying. But the price was just okay. It was okay. And technically, when you look at things, it seems like we've got to such a level of enthusiast purchasing stuff. It's like we're purchasing the most expensive stuff. It's near enough as expensive as the workstation stuff, and it's like we can't get any higher performance. We're getting a little bit more performance, so say that we're only getting 10%, we're spending like an extra £500–600 just for that extra performance. It's really, really crazy, and it's sad times to see that. The only cheapest things that you can buy right now is like basically one stick of RAM, which is about £65 to £85, which is 8 gigabytes, will get you going. And then you can overclock your RAM if you've got a decent motherboard to do that, obviously. And then obviously motherboards that are not very great, but they're okay if you close them off. And SSDs, that's the only thing. Like all CPUs and everything like that are really shut down. Graphics cards are shut down. Even the GTX 1050 is about £150 to probably buy now, a graphics card. And you would think it would be a lot more cheaper than that. Yeah. Well, 134, 120, like it's basically 130 quid. That's £200. Oh, this is a, oh my god, that's a 1050 Ti, £200. Right, there you go, there you have it. It has got to that level. But anyway, start screaming down below in the comments down below. I would love to read all your comments because that's what these videos reflect on. Yeah, I really do it because of that. And technically, I have spent so much money on this computer just to feel what it's like to be a consumer. And I tell you what, it really isn't great. It's actually, there's so many loopholes. If I get a CPU from Intel, it doesn't matter if I overclock it and blow it up. It's fine because they sent it to me to do that and test and show people. But if I go to buy it and it's got a K on the end, I've got to make sure I buy like a burial for it. If I, like, or cremation thing. I need a funeral plan. Because if I don't do that, at the end of the day, like, what's going to happen? Not funeral plan, sorry. Life insurance for it. Because it could just blow up. I need to make sure that it will go to hospital and it'll be able to get fixed or just get replaced. Whatever. Anyway, it's a bit crazy. So, anywho, like XMP is overclocking. Graphics cards are overclocking. And basically, I want you to sound off in the comments down below. Tell me what you want to see. And then I'm going to start to do some more research. Because I'm going to do some on AMD. See if AMD do it as well. As it's coming up close to the new CPUs and the new graphics card, if they're going to release it. Or the 7nm, which is going to be quite cool. But then, I wonder if it can work with the same motherboards. Because maybe they'll bring out new motherboards so it can run better, more stability. Anyway, I'm Roger, and I want you to subscribe, share, like, and follow me on all social media platforms. And I am off. See you next one. Roger and out.